Hi Shailesh, welcome to Video Next.
Hi Ashwini, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. So Shailesh, this is the last session of our 5-day conference. And with a little help from you, we are going to sum up for our audience where the digital video space is headed and what trends we'll all do well to keep an eye on. Now for this, we have 20 minutes and I have 5 questions. So let's begin.
Great.
Okay, fantastic. So, Shailesh, Ormax is in the business of content testing. You give the makers of content an advocacy score, which is essentially a numeric word of mouth score out of 100. Now, it reflects the percentage of people who like something enough to recommend it to others in simple words. The question is, Shailesh, of late, what kind of content is getting a high advocacy score and what's not working?
I think what has really changed in the last 2 years is that there is more variety in the top list. The shows which are crossing 70, which is like a gold standard, so to speak. So we don't have only thrillers. We have a special ops, but we also have a panchayat. We have a Patal Lok, but then there is also a scam 1992, of course, which is 80 plus. So we've got a good variety of genres. It's not like it was a couple of years ago when it was virtually everything was either a suspense thriller or it was a dark drama kind of a underbelly show like a Mirzapur. So those kind of shows are also doing well, but there's enough variety now on offer. So to that extent, what is doing well is more well-rounded and I would say more multi-genre. What is not doing well is 80% of the stuff, and that's probably one of the problems with this category. I mean, it's a problem with most categories that 80% of stuff doesn't do well. But here, I think the long tail is really long. A lot of stuff just keeps coming, and I think we also don't even, because we are in the business and we are tracking shows, we even come to know some of the shows. Otherwise, some of these shows are too small, they come and go, and I think there's not much to notice. So there's a long list of that which doesn't work, and that's again across genres. So I think there's a lot of things which are Me Too versions of the bigger shows which particularly don't stand out.
Give examples of shows that got a particularly high advocacy score in the recent past.
So last 1 year has been very good. In fact, 2020 had a lot of those kind of shows. So Scam is right at the top of the list. So that's then Special Ops is the other one which is 80 plus. So those are the two which are, and Special Ops again, if you compare it to say Mirzapur or Patal Lok, it's not the dark kind of thriller. It's a very Bollywood kind of a thriller. It's colorful. It has got filminess to it. So it's a different take on the thriller genre compared to what we have used to seeing on OTT in the 2018-19 period when thrillers were generally dark. So those two, Patal Lok is at 75 watts, so that's done well. Then there is Panchayat, which is 70 plus, which is again a TVF kind of a show. Now a lot of TVF shows are beginning to make it to Amazon and a Hotstar kind of platforms, and I think we'll see more of that. Sony Live has Gullak, which is 60 plus, so that's also done well.
Okay.
Yeah, there are quite a few others. Mirzapur season 2 also is 70 plus, so that's done well for itself too. So I think we've definitely got more variety and more quantity also this year. So in the last 12, 15 months.
Okay. How does it compare with Mirzapur season 1, just before we go on?
It's similar, 1 or 2 points difference. I think the numbers were bigger because the market had grown by then and the franchise had grown, but the advocacy wise, in terms of likability, they were kind of similar in terms of both being around 73 to 75 in that range.
Okay, great. Now, Shailesh, you and I, we always sit down and we discuss the online video space at regular intervals. It feels like that. In 2018, you told me how the OTT space in India is running on borrowed sensibilities. Now, I think that has changed to an extent. We spoke last May in 2020, and you told me how the thriller genre had mutated into 2 parts. One was a very gory, dark type, and the other one was a more cinematic, palatable type. Now, we've entered the 3rd month of 2021. What is that one overarching content trend that you see emerging that's going to see this space through over the next few months, or that's going to really dominate the space rather?
I think one thing which has emerged is that the dependence on Bollywood, if I can say that, or on big faces or that kind of big production houses or big directors is reduced. So you are seeing shows which are quote unquote smaller, like say a Gullak, which is like TVF shows are in that league, but also a Scam. It doesn't have, in that sense, a big saleable face. Pratik is a very accomplished actor, but he's not like somebody you would have seen in Hindi films.
That's right.
Before. So you're seeing that content is finding its way through, and I think the whole initially when platforms came to India, probably they were going for the film production houses and trying to, highlight their shows with a certain star cast to give it a certain billing and make it sound marketable even to a platform. I would say, like a production house would think that Netflix or Amazon would buy a show because it has some stars attached to the show. But I think over time, everybody's got a little more comfortable with the idea that this is not a medium where star cast is that important. Concept story is more important. So I think that is kind of opening up a lot of things, and Scam is a very good example of that. And I think a lot of platforms which may not be like Netflix or Amazon, which are global platforms which have deep pockets, would really benefit from this idea that you could actually look at shows which are more contained in their budget and those kind of ambitions, but can still tell good stories. And I think that's one thing. And the second thing, obviously, is that I think genres are opening up. So we, during the lockdown, we were continuously tracking how the category is growing. So the rough estimate is that around 23 million, which is like 2.3 crore GC audiences started watching web series for the first time during the lockdown. So, and that's across all languages. That's a lot of people because, and these are generally older people, 30 plus age group, and they are 60% women. So we are looking at audiences who were not earlier on the category who are coming. And the only way you will be able to sustain them and make them watch more shows is by giving them content which is to their taste, which is slightly more family inclusive. I would say slightly more, I would say somewhere closer to TV, not exactly like TV, but you can't be very, very edgy and get a 40-year-old in Indore or Bhopal to watch you regularly as well. So I think that widening of audience will lead to widening of genres as well. And it's already started, but I think we will see more of it in this year and the next year.
Okay, great. Now, Shailesh, to a large extent, OTT testing is done to help the makers decide where to release a piece of content, online or in theaters. Now, given the current situation with theaters and cinemas, what are the markers that are going to guide this decision, both for Ormax and for the makers?
Yeah, I think cinema's situation is pretty okay now, to be honest. I think we're just waiting for a couple of indie films to release because down south things have been fine when big films have come. But in general, I think one of the things that has happened in the last year or two, and it's been accelerated by the lockdown, is that smaller films have become smaller and bigger films have become bigger. So films which were earlier probably making their way to the theater, but one felt that they could have been on OTT. Today, they probably have no chance if they're come in theaters. So because audiences are now clearly being able to distinguish between a film that they can watch online versus a film that they would rather go to the theater for a certain cinematic experience, a big screen experience, or go with their family and friends. So, like if you see somebody like Rajkumar Rao or Nawazuddin Siddiqui, these actors were building a certain equity for themselves. I think that equity comes in very handy from an OTT perspective because that's where a certain type of audience is and they really have a strong equity. But from a theatrical perspective, I think if they are in films where they are the leads, they could have a little bit of a challenge in getting audiences to theaters in the current scenario, or even in the next 1 or 2 years. I think the distinction of what is for big screen and what is for small screen has become far more clear because of the lockdown.
Okay. Now, again, Shailesh, unlike for movies or TV content, for OTT, testing is not done to necessarily fix the flaws or to make any tweaks to the content, but rather to figure out the marketing plan and the positioning for a show to see if it can become the tentpole property for an OTT platform. Now, give us an example from the recent past, an anecdote rather, of a show you tested recently, and briefly tell us how you helped shape the marketing strategy for it.
Yeah, so taking names obviously is tricky, but I'll try and still give a sense. See, but before I get to the example itself, I think both types of testing have now started slowly for OTT as well, which is that people are beginning to look at scripts and concepts as well.
Okay.
So I think at some stage, different companies have different approaches. So since we last spoke, I think we are also now working with more platforms, and some platforms actually come with that approach that they are testing early at a concept stage before they're shooting, which is how a lot of our testing in film and pretty much all our testing in television happens, where you test before you shoot. In terms of being able to influence marketing, I think one of the key things is how to position a show. So if a show has, so in one of the recent ones, so there was clear choice of whether you want to pitch the show as a thriller or as a more emotional drama. And I think when you have that choice, you virtually cutting two different trailers. Now, when I'm testing the show, my
Yeah.
trailers are not ready. So what happens is that the research becomes kind of a brief to the company which is cutting the trailers, that you have to take this route versus this and the other route. And I think the nature of it is that we can normally talk about it only once the stuff is out and it's a little while ago. So I think without taking names, it becomes a little difficult. But yeah, I think trailer choices, poster choices, what to call a show, at times, title choices. These are all things which help package a show well. So those things make a difference. I think also the other aspect which is important is that if a platform has 6 shows lined up in a period of 6 months, then which 2 or 3 should they put their marketing muscle behind, and which 3 or 4 should they let them be and just come and be supported by some online marketing and some digital marketing, and not really take them to outdoor or print. I think that decision is also being taken, because if something tests well, then you would rather give it that push. And there have been cases when platforms have said, okay, this is not tested well, let me launch it silently, let me not create too much of a noise around it. It will find its own audience within the platform, but it doesn't have the potential of getting new subscribers on board. So I think
Okay.
that becomes slightly more strategic in nature as well.
Give us an example of a show you can name, perhaps, or maybe something that's long gone and something you helped shape the marketing strategy for, the positioning for.
Yeah, so I think some of the earlier Amazon shows like Mirzapur season 1 and Made in Heaven, those shows where, see again, inputs, things like this, when you test a show, there's a production house, there's a platform, and there are obviously, so those three, between Ormax, the production house and platform, there are three constituents, and somewhere everybody has their own perspectives. And I think somewhere one is looking for exchange of ideas and alignment, because our approach is not to necessarily say that this is the only way to go about it. But I think a lot of times what we have seen is that as people start doing more and more tests, they also begin to understand that these are recommendations, these are more things that if we pick what we like, it will work in our favor. I think we have seen that in films as well. First 1 or 2 projects, people are quite resistant, but as they test their 6th show, 6th movie, 7th movie, 8th movie, they are far more I would say accommodating of some of the feedback, and they're far more receptive to it. So I think with OTT, with Amazon, we have been doing testing for quite a while. With some of the other platforms, we have started in the last 1 or 2 years. So I think they are at that stage that they're warming up to some of these techniques. And I think as time goes on, hopefully, more and more of the interactions in that direction will be easier. Because see, also you have to keep in mind, and I think that's true for all medium, that even if the platform is the same, the producer changes. So if you hypothetically tested a show like Scam, then Hansal is the director or Applause is the producer. You tested another show for Sony Live, then TVF is the producer. So you may be dealing with the same platform, but you're dealing with different sensibilities of the director, the producer. So to that extent, you have to go through getting a lot of people in the industry to understand how you test, how is it helpful. And with every project, when you have a new director or a new producer who has a strong voice and who has a viewpoint, it is interesting, but at times it's also something that takes time to build. So I think we have been over the last few years getting used to introducing a lot of directors to our methods of testing across film and OTT.
That's interesting indeed. Now, Shailesh, when it comes to content discovery, there's advocacy, which is the human element. I depend on my circles of influence for recommendations. And then there's the algorithm, which is the tech element. And that's between me and my machine. So, if I were living in a cave just with Wi-Fi without any human interaction, what I would watch would be very different from what I do now in society with the advocacy impact. So humor me when I ask you, Shailesh, whether the two, the algorithm and advocacy, are somewhere in conflict.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say conflict, but I think they can compete with each other to get attention, because eventually the algorithm is more a platform level thing, because there is no overall algorithm. Netflix algorithm is different. And if I am a subscriber already, then I maybe push certain type of content. But I think in the Indian market, the challenge right now is to also increase the subscriber base. So, I mean, there are only around 45 to 50 million on the outer side paid subscribers of OTT platforms in India, unduplicated, if you count all the people who are paying. Obviously, their families watch and there's piracy and we understand all that. But if we're just talking of around 4 crore or 5 crore people who are subscribing, I think the next 2-3 years challenge, which would be to take this number to 7-8 crore or take it closer to 10 crore, which is 100 million subscribers. Now, part of that will happen because of IPL and stuff like that. But from the show's perspective, I think when you get new people in on board, there's no algorithm, because algorithm comes into play only when you are using an app. And I
That's
think
right.
to expand the base and to get subscribers to go up, you need advocacy and you need variety also. I mean, you need genre
Yeah.
variety, which was a key factor which was missing till a year or two ago. That's why the category was so metro skewed and youth skewed. And I
Hmm.
think now suddenly we are seeing that the dependence on the metros and the younger audience is reducing because there's more
Yeah.
variety. Yeah. So algorithm, I think, comes into play for heavy users and for, I would say, more loyal users of platforms, like those who are on Netflix and those who understand it very well. But
Hmm.
for new users, which is a big number in India, advocacy is a very, very important factor.
Sure, that's a very good point, Shailesh. And now, lastly, as we've seen over the course of the last few days, many people brought this up, that many people are starting to watch OTT content not just on their phones alone, but on large screens with their families. So, is viewing behavior still entirely a function of the medium, or has online video content started becoming one entity?
Yeah, so no, it is. I think this whole segment of people who are watching with families, I don't know. I missed yesterday's discussion because that was the topic of that. If there was a number put to that, but
Hmm.
in our understanding, the number is very, very small because see, the thing is, it's a mobile market and you have
Yeah,
got 70%, 75% consumption happening on the mobile device. As we get broader into smaller towns and we get into languages, which is Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, Malayalam, Bengali, Marathi, it will get into interiors and mini metros and small towns, and the mobile consumption of OTT content will go up more and more. So I think this whole idea of watching on a screen on a smart TV is a very metro thing. It may be happening more in metros, but if you are to really grow the category, it will only happen via the smartphone. So I think there's a difference between watching with family, which is, like, to me, a very, very small set of audience, versus shows which everybody in the family can watch, even though they're watching at different times. I think the second one is more important, that we have to have content which different members in the family can relate to, and maybe
hmm,
they can watch at different times on their own devices at their own convenience. But collective viewing is a very TV thing in this country, and I think OTTs will struggle to find too much there because it's a category which is developed on solo consumption premise. And I think that's how it will continue to grow. And in fact, it will become more and more that as it gets into smaller towns and
hmm.
languages, because smartphone is the internet source by and large. And smart
That's
TVs
right.
are things which people have not even heard of, forget being able to afford them
Yeah.
in when we go outside the top 10 cities.
Right. Now, I'm going to take one question before we wrap up. Rikin Shah is he wants to know, do OTT platforms bet on short movies under 60 minutes? What's the ideal movie length?
Yeah, so I think the answer to that is a no. Everybody is still figuring out. There's a lot of there are a lot of interesting short films of 15 minutes, 20 minutes on YouTube, which some of which do very well and they've got great views. But of course, that's free content. I think OTT platforms have done anthologies, which are shorter movies compiled
That's
into,
right.
like love stories, ghost stories, that kind of stuff. I
That's
don't
right.
think. I think the whole reservation with doing a 30-minute movie would be that you will market it and eventually it's just 30 minutes of content. So do you really get that kind of engagement? In fact, I have heard that a lot of times when somebody goes with a film idea to an OTT platform, the platform is like, why can't you make a show? It will give me more episodes and more content.
Okay.
So I think the general tendency is to stretch the premise and make a series out of it. If you cannot make a series, then maybe settle in for a show,
Hmm.
settle in for a film, but shorter than a one and
Yeah.
a half hour film, I think becomes, from just a marketing perspective, it becomes too much of a task just to get some viewing time. And I
Hmm.
think it may be more like a YouTube kind of thing. But again, all these things are developing. It's a very new market, and I think everybody's trying to figure out what the India strategy is and how it can be different from what is happening in America, for example. So I think we
Hmm.
will see more experiments, and maybe somebody will come out with this idea and it will really work. I think Flipkart tried it with Zindagi in Shorts or something. They had short films. There was a property like that.
Yeah.
I think now it has made it to Netflix, because I saw some mailer from Netflix that they are also
Yeah.
putting content. So I think it's floating around, but let's see. Yeah. The ideal duration, when we ask internet users for short films, they say is 15-20 minutes, but then again, for them, short films are very different from full length films. So it depends on which category are you talking about.
No, absolutely. It's a very nuanced answer, actually. Very well fielded, Shailesh. Great. I'm out of questions. That was very insightful. Thank you, Shailesh, for your time. Thank you, audience.